Welcome into the greatest post-game show on turf. Matthew Hargrove here alongside my partner Brendan Reilly. The Duluth Huskies with a really tough loss tonight. Final score, the La Crosse Loggers 18 and the Duluth Huskies 6. And right off the bat, the La Crosse Loggers were able to get 7 runs in the first inning. The Duluth Huskies, though, scored 1 run in the bottom of the first, 2 runs in the bottom of the second. It kind of looked like a comeback was starting to brew for the Huskies offense. But then the 5th inning came around and the Loggers found their energy again, putting up 8 runs in the top of the 5th inning.
Well, to put up 8 runs on very few hits in the inning. Ray Watt just did not really have it tonight. The control just really got away from him. He ended up giving up 7 runs in that 5th inning, and that really did the Huskies in. And I really think that it was earlier on in the game that things started to kind of deflate for the Huskies. It was really in that 3rd inning when Ronnie Sweeney came up to the plate.
Well, let's go into the highlights tonight, and that's an error, the first of 2 on Mike Bovey, and this is a part of that 7-run first inning for the La Crosse Loggers, and there was a lot of mistakes. You see another error there on Michael Brooks. There was a lot of defensive sloppiness from the Huskies in that first inning, but Ben Girl was immediately out of it because he had no command on his fastball and curveball because of the wet baseball, and it was really getting to him.
Well, this game was delayed about 12 minutes at the start. It was slick everywhere. That could also result in some of the errors as well. But they were able to get up 7 runs, and it was a nice try by Michael Brooks there, trying to keep it to 6. But the Huskies just didn't have it. And then you see Ray Watt plunked a couple guys, walked a couple guys as well. He ended up walking on the day 4, and he gave up 7 runs. And it just from there, just the runs kept piling on, and the Huskies were kind of left at the bottom trying to figure out anything that they could try to do.
And included with that Ray Watt outing, you see now the 8-run 5th inning for the La Crosse Loggers. And talking about Ray Watt, that has been an issue for the righty this season, and we said it right when he came out of the bullpen for the Duluth Huskies. We were taking a look at his season stats. You'll see a scoreless inning, and then you'll see an outing where he's not just giving up a run or 2, he's given up a lot of runs. And right when he loaded the bases, right after that, he plunks 2 guys and then 2 walks, and a team that is really struggling with the bullpen side and trying to make a playoff push, you just cannot have big issues in the bullpen.
No, you can't. I mean, Ray Watt came in, 32 pitches, only 8 were strikes on the evening from Ray. And you talk about the bullpen concerns. It's kind of been the story all season long, but now you're starting to lose some guys on the pitching staff because some guys are going back to school. They have their innings limit. They're hitting their innings limit. And so now the Huskies, they need to figure out a way to find some more reliable arms. I really liked what I saw today, though, from a couple guys out of the bullpen. Oscar Lepe was able to come in and give a solid inning. Tony Cortez with 2 shutouts as well. Brody Maynard threw great as well today. So it was really just some of those kind of moments that the Huskies, they really just, things started going against them and things just kept rolling. They were never able to find an immediate stop, and that's how La Crosse was able to put up 18 runs.
And you hope as a Duluth Husky fan that Oscar Lepe, because of the scoreless inning tonight, that he starts to find his groove. We talked about his first 2 outings in a Husky uniform were ones to forget, and just a lot of talent out of the lefty, coming from the University of San Francisco, and there's a lot to like about Oscar Lepe, and he is going to be a big part in the process for the Duluth Huskies out of the bullpen if they are able to make it into the playoffs and find themselves in a potential 3-game series with the Waterloo Bucks. And now moving on from the pitching side of things, the offense once again was electric for this Duluth Huskies team, and even the guys coming off the bench. When you have guys like Xavier Carter coming off the bench and Jake Brill with all the speed, there is just a lot of depth with this team, and if you can get really efficient pitching, the offense is going to carry you the way. And we were also having the conversation of if the Duluth Huskies get into a playoff series, you have a first game with Will McIntyre on the bump and then potentially Zach Statzer as a number 2. And Will McIntyre, he's giving you, no doubt about it, probably 7 innings of shutout baseball, maybe giving up just 1 run. And the way that Zach Statzer has developed his game into that starting role, he's probably giving you maybe 5 or 6 shutout innings innings. And when you have an offense that's clicking on all cylinders, and that's not to say that the Waterloo Bucks have no pitching whatsoever, but when you have an offense that has been so good for this long, you got to be feeling good about maybe the Huskies pulling off an upset if they do find themselves getting into the playoffs.
Well, you got Will McIntyre going game one. I think that Marcus Pointer more likely wanted Zach Statzer to be one of the big arms coming out of the bullpen. I think today, honestly, was a big audition for Ben Girl to become that number 2 in the rotation with the departure of Johnny Guzman. And today it just didn't have it. So next thing you know, come playoff time, who's going to really be turned to for that number 2 in the rotation? It might have to be Zach Statzer at this point, but I don't think Marcus Pointer wanted Zach Statzer, especially at the beginning of the season, to be his number 2 come crunch time, come the final stretch. But the Huskies are just going to have to figure out a way. Who's going to step up? Who's going to take that number 2? But a guy that could potentially etch his name into that conversation is Cameron Poole's getting the ball tomorrow.
Yeah, I like your thinking. Cameron Poole, like you said, he's going to be the starter tomorrow. He's coming off an outing against the Wilmer Stingers where it was really promising in the beginning, and then he had that rough 4th inning. And when we talk about that number 3 guy for the Duluth Huskies, I think it definitely comes down to Cameron Poole, Ben Girl, and Ben Peterson. And the issues with each one of them, with Ben Girl, I think if he's struggling early, the mindset he just immediately is out of it. And I think he just has to calm down a little bit more. With Ben Peterson, he's got ace stuff, and I think that's the frustrating thing right now with Ben Peterson. He had 9 walks in his outing against the Rochester Honkers. That just can't happen. And then Cameron Poole, again, it's the problems with consistency. And Marcus Pointer, man, you got to be sitting down with your guys and asking them, who wants to be that Game 3 starter?
Who wants the ball?
Yeah, who wants the ball in a potential, game clinching, getting that ball in a potential Game 7 to send it to a Great Plains championship game?
I mean, that's what's going to be decided. Well, first off, they have to figure out if they want to make the playoffs at this point. I mean, they got 9 games left to play.
That is the problem. Is we're talking about all this playoff stuff, and the Loggers with an 18-6 win over the Huskies tonight.
Very convincing. But for this Huskies team, you got 9 games left to play. You got to get the win tomorrow. Tomorrow is a must-win. We were talking about today being a must-win, but tomorrow is the definitive must-win. Because then you got St. Cloud on the weekend, and then you go into the final stretch where you got a road trip going to Mankato, face off against Bismarck and Wilmer as well. So for this Huskies team, tomorrow, as much as I don't want to say it, could just absolutely be the season tomorrow.
Yeah, it could be. That is scary to think about. The last matchup of the season between the Crosse Loggers and the Duluth Huskies will be tomorrow night. For myself, Matthew Hargrove, and my partner, Brendan Reilly, we will see you tomorrow. You've been watching Duluth Husky Baseball on the Northwoods League Baseball Network.